And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. Vlogcast comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This Vlogcast started as a combination of spite and stress end effects because, well, I'm having a little bit of a hard time with a couple of things. Not the least of which is my eyesight, because I put my contact lenses in and they're apparently just not settling quite correctly. So if I look like I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on around me, yeah, that's what's going on. So don't be scared. That's right now just my normal. And part of this is to follow through with the old adage that sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your man host. I'm known as Shujin Tribble, and you can find me pretty much everywhere under that name as Shujin. Good to be back with you. Hi. It's been, before we go ahead and do the usual introductions, I'm just going to let you all know, it's been an eventful week in a lot of ways. For myself personally, I had a couple of days that were really tough on me for work. And being that my work is physical, you kind of get part of it. I had a small emotional landmine go off. Wasn't quite so bad, but not so happy. And I will fill you in on the rest of it when we get over to the 5-minute freestyle. From the Midwest of the U.S., Bridget Fitch, who does have two names, believe it or not, as I keep reminding her that I actually can pronounce them both. Good evening, hon.
Good evening.
And over there on the left-hand coast, who is going to be very quiet tonight and is only going to be chiming in when it's absolutely necessary and deemed as such. Io Cloud, hi, hon.
That's a wonderful way to tell me to STFU. I like it.
Effectively so. Short version, Io had work done on her throat, which means that right now it's still recovering. So being that there's a lot that she could be talking through, she's basically said, go ahead and just tell me to, shut up, and I'll probably shut up. No, really, tell me to do that. And, of course, she's not going to go ahead and complain that I'm telling the story incorrectly because she knows that I'm right. Right?
It's not incorrect, but it's not correct. I had an endoscopy and the intubation went wrong. So, yeah, shit happened with my throat.
It was more fun when it was stuff that was left to the imagination. All right, that's fine. But we were having a little bit more fun, suggesting that there were other possible reasons for stuff being done to her throat. It was more fun when Dallin and I were talking it through. I'll say as much as that. Which is encouragement for you all to be listening to us on Friday nights as we do a radio stream, for entertainment purposes only. So, hi. In the meantime, if you'd like to be here with us as we're recording this show, feel free to do that over there on YouTube because that's where we are. And of course, you can always be part of the live chat over here, which means, Stephanie, I know that you're over there. Thank you very much, as always. And if it looks like I'm having a hard time focusing, yeah, right now I'm having a little bit of a hard time focusing. So, hi. Know that you're there. This is the thing about me with my contacts, and forgive me for having my eyes closed for a couple of moments. I put the contacts in, like 20 minutes ago, literally, because I spent the day at home very, very low-key. And it takes a little while for my eyes and the contacts to, come to a mutual agreement. It's just the way that it is. And, in a little while, it's going to be perfectly fine. But for right at the moment, it's just going to be, it's going to be one of those things. So believe it or not, of all the things that I have to be attentive of, is something that I'm not looking at right now, and I have to trust my muscle memory, which is right where the microphone is, so that I don't bump it with my face. I'll know when I do that because I will suddenly flinch backwards, and I don't want to be doing that right now. Thank you very much. Anyway, hi. So Bridget had an eventful day. So go ahead and fill in.
Yeah. I went to our local No Kings protest, and it was actually pretty cool. They did play Beyonce's Freedom, which was the intro music that Kamala Harris used for her campaign, which I was a little surprised by because it's like really red here. Um, And we had one lady that was bicycling by because she was not in a car. So she went honk, 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 honk at us. And that was kind of funny. But there were people that were driving around the block several times and honking at us. And then they would stop and lower their windows to take pictures of our signs. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, there were a couple of other videos from different groups that had posted, one of which was showing a counter protester who was on one of those, well, I'm not quite sure how to describe it. It was effectively a pedal coaster, elliptical bicycle thing. I don't know really how to describe it. Basically, if you took a razor scooter, but you actually made it powered by putting elliptical skis on it, so that you pedal while you're walking. That's the thing. And they had a big old, red, white, and blue name flag on the backside that they were carrying around, but they were being followed by somebody in a much smaller bicycle who had a little speaker, bullhorn speaker on their handlebars, and was playing yakety sax at them. For those that don't know, for whatever reason, yakety sax has also become the theme to the Benny Hill show.
Benny Hill show.
Folks don't exactly know Benny Hill quite so much these days, but you know what?
They should.
They should. Now, yes, was it kind of sexist?
Yeah.
Yes, but in a gentle way. It was because it was cute. It was fun. It was, everybody knew what they were getting themselves into. And, well, let's face it. For those that didn't know, Benny Hill, in real life, the most unassuming gentleman, just did not, he definitely was not the star all the time. He took public transport back and forth, and he was just a nice guy. Kind of miss him for that part. Anyhow, yeah, like I said, I'm gonna have a little bit of a hard time reading stuff until the eyes actually get properly back into shape. So give me a couple of moments so that I can do my thing, and then we'll kind of get into all of that, which is going to make it a little bit interesting for me to try to read the horrible scopes, come to think of it. That's going to be a problem. I think that might actually just be a little bit of a problem, but I'll find a way through. So with the 5 minutes on the clock, I'm going to go ahead and do your 5-minute freestyle, which starts now. Whirlwind. Oh, boy, yeah, that's truly appropriate. A lot of stuff been going on. And again, as was mentioned, the No Kings protests going on over here and worldwide, if it's to be believed. And I say that only because, wow, the amount of solidarity that the rest of the world has with this country of mine really baffles me sometimes. I mean, yeah, there have been times when there have been things that have happened in the United States, and other countries have stepped up and said, yeah, we're ready to help you out. And just do. It's amazing sometimes what ends up happening. So for the peoples of all of these other countries to kind of step up, have their own little protests all over the place, or in some cases, large protests all over the planet, just thank you. It means a lot to those of us who've been dealing with this dumpster fire from the inside and trying our damnedest not to lose hope. So thanks. For me personally, this week has just been all kinds of all over the place. Found out that assistant manager at the store that I work at is going to be leaving. That the manager for my direct group is going to be sliding into that position. Partly because he's already kind of done it before, but because. Which leaves a spot open, of course, for a new manager for my section. And I thought about it. And I thought about it really hard for a little bit. And I talked with the guys that I work with, and I asked a couple of them, what do you think? And I want your honest opinion. Should I put in for it? Now, I want to remind you that I'm basically twice the age of these guys. So it was a little bit weird, I think, that the old man of the group, and I love saying that, calling myself that, would actually say, you know, what's your opinion? What do you think? Do you think I should even bother? And as if they were sharing a brain cell, like a couple of orange cats. In one voice, at the same instant, they both said, yes. No anything extra on top of that. It was just, yes. They didn't even look at each other. It just came out. Wow. You know, that was something. I don't believe that I could have asked for a bigger ringing endorsement than that. So I really thought about it because I've never really been in a position like that before. I've never actually been management by title. I've been team leads a lot of times, and I've said before, you know, if you want something done, tell me. I'll make sure that it gets done. But being management? So this time, I was really giving it a lot of thought. Trying to figure out how I was going to be dealing with this, how I should approach it. And I decided I was going to go ahead and talk with the guy who was the manager when I came in. The guy who hired me, saw me from the beginning, watched me drop 100 pounds in a year. And I asked him, I know part of what's going on. I know that there's going to be a spot opening up to manage this group. What don't I know about the position that I should in order to decide whether or not to put in for it? And be honest. And we talked about it. He gave me his insights from having done the job. And when all is said and done, he said something that I could not ask for a better ringing endorsement. He said, on paper, I have no doubt that you would do the job great. But that's when he brought it up. The physical side. The demands would be too much on my body. Really would be. And all it would take would be one sciatic nerve hit, and I'd never be able to recover. Because there would be some day I'd have to run a 12-hour shift. And it wouldn't matter what my physical condition would be. So I spent a good portion of this week fretting over, do I put in for it? Do I not? And then the honesty came through from someone that I respected and respected me. So, my chief, I know you're not listening, but thank you for being honest. Because I don't think that I ever would have thought about the possibility of literally wrecking my body. It's not worth it. It's not worth it for me. If I was 20 years younger, maybe. But now, not so much right now. So I did notice a flickering that was happening on the screen to my side over here because things changed around, which means I get to go ahead and say, on Renault Tech over there on the right-hand coast, you made it. Good morning.
Good morning. Sorry, I had a couple things I had to attend to.
Wow, I've got you super loud. Give me a couple seconds to adjust for that. If I can find you in the list of everybody. Where are you? Oh. Well, I have no way of adjusting your... Or do I? Wait a minute. Give me...
He's at the bottom of the list.
Well,
Is that better?
no. No, as a matter of fact. Hold on a second.
How about now?
Well, hold on. Part of it is that I need to adjust you over on my side, but what I'm also getting through from you sounds overdriven. And methinks that is just Discord being Discord. So, say a little something again for me.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, you are almost silent at the moment. So whatever it is that you're trying to change, that's not working right.
Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, I've got good audio from you. I just need to adjust you on my side just a little bit more. Should be perfectly fine. Okay, so
Test.
that'll
That was good.
That'll do.
Goodness.
I will micromanage that a little bit if I have to. But in any case...
And if the audience notice, we didn't tap the microphone or blow into it because we know how to treat our equipment properly.
Well, some of us do at least. And then you got other people who decide that they're going to go ahead and do the whole testing thing by, instead of saying testing, they will say testicles, testicles, testicles. There's a story behind that, and I'll be more than happy to share that later. But anyway, good to have you. How you doing?
I'm okay. I was just busy.
Perfectly understandable. That being the case, then, I'm trying to find my stuff. Like I said, my contacts are not being real happy with me right now, so I'm kind of trying to get everything set correctly. I think maybe my eyes are just a little bit dry. That happens. So, being that where we are, let's go ahead and move things along from here. It'll be time for the horrible scopes. If you know what your astrological sign is, cool. If you don't, you can just make it up as you go along. I don't really much matter how you do it because it's not going to help anything tonight because, well, none of you really helped me out on this one tonight. Now, I've got literally no word on where the mimic might be currently, but being that we're fast approaching International Spooky Days, we're guessing that any reports that I do get are just going to be for laughs. So, thanks, guys. And that being the case, find out what hospitals nearby offer candy screenings for the night. Because, you know, just in case. I don't know.
Yeah, they might have Tylenol in them.
Or mimics to that end. So, to that end, by the way, these scopes are going to be released just in time for any last-minute holiday prep work. So we're going to see what costumes best suit your personalities this week. And just so that we're aware, we are internationally and intentionally ignoring 95% of all of the sexy costume versions. We might end up having one slip through, but that's just because. Aries, as you share a name with the god of war, we're going to suggest several choices. First, of course, a Greek toga, but decked out with miniature plastic swords and shields as befitting such. Option 2, a Wonder Woman costume, complete with a rope that's coated in reflective paint so it glows in any photograph that you're in. So this week, if you feel self-conscious about your looks, all you need to do is shave your chest hair, guys, because trust us, no one is going to be looking at your cleavage while you're in those heels. Linda Carter will be proud of you.
It might not be doable for this year, but next year you can totally make a costume that looks like a cow. Not just a head and ears, but one that you need to walk on all fours with. It's not an easy costume to be convincing in physically, but with enough practice, it'll be amazing. So this week, get the cow onesie and wear that this year, because next year you'll totally blow everyone away with the improvement.
Now the question is, Io, do you feel comfortable enough to do?
It's okay. I'll take Gemini. Gemini, truth be told, it won't matter what costume we suggest. You're just going to do whatever you've been planning anyway. The weirdest part about yours is that you're going to a G-rated party in it and totally bending the rules. But as usual, you'll have the letter of the rules, if not the spirit, on your side. So this week, everybody, be on the lookout for Long John Silver as played by Tim Curry. That'll be Gemini.
And now Io's getting on my case because I said to be quiet, but at the same time, I'm trying to be respectful and mindful, and maybe she felt comfortable enough. Maybe you did, and I just wanted to be sure because I'll be nice about it. There we go. Like I said, I'm just trying to get my focus on because this is not working out quite as well as I would very much like. Cancer Moonchild, we've talked about this cartoon character before, but no one will be expecting to see it. Remember, you'll have to really sell it with the mannerisms and speech, or it'll just be cringeworthy. You need to own this character, so don't half-ass it. So this week, practice saying the name with us. Scooby-Dooby-Dum. What do you mean? What do you mean who? Scooby-Dum. If you don't know who that is, just go look him up. He's an absolutely adorable character.
Leo, have to hand it to you. You've already got a costume that is inspired and unique. We've seen people do the McDonald's broken ice cream machine a couple of times, but being a functional snack vending machine was brilliant. We can't make any suggestions to make it better. So this week, just remember to claim those sales on your income tax returns next year. You do have a business license for this costume, right?
Oh, I like this one. Yeah, I really like this one. Virgo, get out there and find a full body spandex suit to wear. But you need a very specific one. Get one that's chroma key green. You know what that color is. Go out in the suit and behave like nobody can see you, or at least isn't supposed to be able to see you. Get upset when people try to talk to you. Pull off the headpiece, look up at the ceiling, and yell at the director saying, "Don't you get people who know how to act as extras in a scene around here?" So this week, bonus points if you can get someone to be your director. calling you Truman most of the day.
Libra, you and Scorpio are going to have to coordinate your outfits if this is going to work. For you, you'll be rocking traditional hunting gear. Obviously a fake shotgun, but want you to make it look like you're ready to be hunting something. And yes, there is a twist. So this week, the twist is you're not human. You're a turkey. That's right, you're a turkey on the hunt, smelling of sugar cookies.
Scorpio. That's right. You're the hunted. So you're going to need a white wig and facial fur, a fat suit to go under your red velvet suit, and a paranoid disposition. So this week, that's right, you've been invading Thanksgiving for far too long, and now the turkey is fighting back. Don't get shot.
I think I would actually pay to see two people dress up like that scenario right there. I think that would be hilarious. The Sagittarius, it's not tough to build an appropriately sized horse body to buckle yourself into and go as a centaur. The biggest problem won't be the bow and arrow set or the armor, but connecting your actual legs to the rears. Heck, you can even make your own hoof boots easily enough. The hardest part will be using the bathroom when you have to. So this week, if you know somebody with access to surgical supplies, you could make a functional secondary bladder on the body. It probably sounds worse than it actually is.
There's a secret joke in there that I'm hoping one of these days somebody's going to notice. Capricorn. With your dry demeanor and serious tone in all things, we're expecting your "Hi, my name is" sticker to be a lie. Except that, no, it's not, is it? It's you, right? It's actually you. You thought we wouldn't notice because you look so much like you, but you tried not to look like you, just enough so that people they're gonna have some doubt, so they wouldn't come on over and say hi. So this week, hey everybody, it's Brennan Lee Mulligan. Yeah. Check it out. Who knew he'd show up in the scopes, right? It's nice to make your acquaintance. Big fan of you. So, what's it like working for Siobhan?
Aquarius. We know you don't like to get dressed up and make a fuss for these events, but we promise this will be comfortable. Just wear your normal clothes, hat, flannel shirt, broken-in work boots, and blue jean overalls, and you can go as Uncle Jesse from the original Dukes of Hazzard TV series. So this week, we are not making fun of you, how you look, or how you act. We're just trying to get you into the holiday spirit. You could at least be grateful.
Pisces, here's a last minute idea that you might find fun. How about being the Great Pumpkin? Just wear an oversized orange hoodie with blacked out eyes, nose, and mouth like a jack-o'-lantern, and carry around a picture of Linus Van Pelt, asking the other people if you've seen this kid. So this week, this costume will be more entertaining than recreating Charlie Brown's overhauled ghost sheet. Just go with it. It'll work just right.
And those are your horrible scopes for this week. If you like what you got, I'm not working hard enough, and I work really hard at these. But if you want a better or nastier one for yourself or someone else's sign, you can bribe me by asking, because I work on vanity most of the time. Or if you want to have me actually work at it, you can pay me like you want me to work at it over the Coffee page, coffee.com/Icarus the Lunar Guard. This will be posted at the end of the week. Tumblr, Facebook, Coffee, Discord, Blue Sky, because, all the kids got Blue Sky these days. Or at least the those of us that are old enough to do. I don't know. I'm just going with that.
I'm going to have fun with my office party, costume party. I'm going to just wear a pair of black slacks and show up as a premature ejaculation. I'm going to come in my pants.
You do realize, of course, with your overall body design, you could just wear a red shirt and go as Winnie the Pooh. I mean, if you're brave
They
enough.
also might mistake me as the Kool-Aid man or use tampon.
Yeah, I think that's going to be good enough right there. I think that's where it's going to be just fine right there. It's episode 552 on the docket, Your Honor. Polite is good. Angry is better. Now, there's a couple of things about this. Item number one, like I said, eyesight's not doing really great right now. I'm still having a hard time being able to focus on everything. So if I miss something, especially in the live chat, please, you guys let me know, because I'm having a hard time being able to read anything. This particular situation has come up because I saw something pass through one of my socials that was suggesting stop going for the swing voters. Go for the angry voters. Go for the ones who they want to vote. They want to make a difference, but they've been stymied at every turn, and they're pissed about it. But how do they get out? How do they do what's got to be done? And I'm all for that at this point. Do I want there to be statesmanship and fair play? Absolutely. I am not going to back down on the fair play part. But I am ready to go ahead and say it's long past the point of taking off the gloves. It's time to do what it takes. Not to play dirty. But if we're going to go ahead and win, we need to win every way that we can. And the number one way is to make sure that those people who are angry and upset come along for the ride, because we can use that energy while we do not just say it's just the elections, because it's not just the elections. It's every day. It's everything that's going on from now until and through and past the election cycle. Because, like somebody else pointed out, if we just wait until an election, that means that we have ceded the Constitution and its power away from where it's supposed to be, in our hands. And brother, I ain't putting up with that shit any more than anybody else should. So let's start off with Bridget and talk briefly about the protests today, because as angry and as upset as so many people have been, so much so that they would decide that they would go ahead and don inflatable animal costumes and tempt these quote-unquote law enforcement people to spray them in their vents with whatever their chemical stuff is, and literally just tank that, because that's the kind of weirdos we've got working on our side. I'm wondering how many firebombs were set off, and how many RPGs were shown around, and how many windows on cars were smashed in, and how many sexual assaults were done in these.
Sounds like a hockey game.
Well, I mean, except for the, cars. They don't allow cars with windows on the ice. How many violent things were happening at these protests that you were at?
The ones that I was at today, 0. And from what I have heard, on Blue Sky at some of these larger protests and things, there was one arrest, and it was due to some Trumpster who decided to pull a gun on some of the, protest participants, and she got arrested. So, yeah. But as far as I heard today, no violence anywhere.
And you know,
No people arrested in San Francisco or San Diego or New York City or Chicago.
yeah, that's
Amazing,
really,
huh?
it's really weird.
Yeah, especially for much of left-wing American-hating terrorists.
Yeah, maybe.
Just out of curiosity,
Mm.
just out of curiosity, because I'm doing a little devil's advocate in my head here, as well as kind of the blame game thing that we tend to see on TV and everything else. Was there anything that occurred in terms of, let's say, physical assault that occurred to the armed trumper that predicating them pulling their gun and brandishing it at
No.
the very least? There was no pushing, no shoving, no hitting them over the head with the sign, throwing sticks, rocks, setting them on fire with a tiki torch, running them over with a car.
Nope. It was unprovoked, and she just decided to show her ass, and police cuffed her up and threw her in the back of the cop car.
Yeah, on top of everything else, Tech, the louder you were getting here, whether you recognized it or not, the more overdriven and clipping it was dropping out. So,
Sorry.
like I said, I'm very much expecting that the problem is microphone input / Discord output. So, for what it's worth, for the time being, just as even as you can lay it out, so we don't have to be.
Yeah, sure, I got you.
Okay.
And this one woman, I think it was in South Carolina. I think it was Myrtle Beach, but I'm not 100% certain on that. But yeah, South Carolina. And she was wearing a Trump shirt, of course.
Because, of course.
Hmm.
Of course, as the various media news stations like to point out, just because they were wearing a Trump shirt doesn't mean they were a Trump supporter. They might have been one of the leftist extremists who was faking being a Trump supporter.
Right.
I'm sorry. While I don't agree with this administration, and I fully support my military, no matter how much I disagree with my government, you couldn't pay me enough to go out wearing a Trump hat, Trump shirt, brandish a firearm, get arrested for it, and then which would cause me to lose my job.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really amazing to me because some people just do not realize or refuse to think, wow, it's amazing how quickly some people can have their faces identified these days. They just refuse to figure that part out. Even if you're wearing, a balaclava or a cloth over your face, it's not child's play to identify people, but it's not especially difficult, especially when there are these people who are incredibly vocal, shall we say, because of course
and
they
on
are.
On top of that, unless they're sealed, depending on what state you live in, it's pretty easy to get court records.
That's true. That's true. Io had typed something earlier, and if you're trying to figure out what the heck it is that I'm doing, I've actually pulled up the show on my phone so that I can try to blow up the text like really, really high so I can try to read it. And now it's blurred out while I'm blinking my eyes. making reference to the inflatable furry costumes, because absurdity is one of the greatest forms of protest. Tech, I'm assuming that you did see some of these freaking gay frogs hopping around and
I always thought it was silly that somebody would go outside and wear an inflatable costume until that whole T-Rex phase of the internet of TikTok and all that, where people would go to like the airport or the restaurant or whatever in a T-Rex costume for shits and giggles, and they were doing harmless things. They weren't going around trying to scare people and do something that would cause harm. And then now we have. I was surprised I wasn't seeing pictures of T-Rexes. It was frogs. It was all sorts of stuff. I was waiting to see an inflatable baby Trump. Just like with somebody draw a crying face on it, right? With a soiled diaper or something,
Oh, we would never have that happen. That would be wrong.
We had some inflatables here. We had a cat. We had a frog. We had a couple of unicorns and a couple of sharks, a pink one and a blue one.
So they matter of time until head Cheeto in charge tries to ban those on the streets.
I'm willing to speak for this. I am. Inflatable furries, the newest furries on the block. Welcome to the first side. We got cookies.
And the best part is, in some cases, we've programmed those cookies. Because the whole, furries tech thing, we're all over the place.
Well, the frog phenomena has spread. I saw several pictures today of people in inflatable frog suits that were in other countries showing solidarity with us.
Yep, seen a couple of those too. That's great. Now,
we're reclaiming the frog.
Now, I want to sidetrack for just a couple of seconds, because the frog thing, the gay frog thing, I do not know if these people in costumes are in any way, shape, or form what sexuality. It doesn't matter. The memeified thing from Alex Jones, turn the friggin' frogs gay and all that stuff. I don't know if anybody heard, but the Supreme Court of the United States has actually done something right this week, or within the last 10 days or so, and they have declined to hear Alex Jones' case to try to get his $1.4 billion judgment against him, a defamation case. He wanted to protest it. He wanted to have it, kicked out by the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court's basically said, yeah, no, we're not touching that. So the conviction stands. Now, are we expecting that he's going to earn $1.4 billion to pay as restitution? Of course not. But you know what? Having his earnings for the rest of ever commandeered sounds good to me. Boy deserves that and a heck of a lot more. Although I think it would be probably ill-suited if we were to parade him out there in the streets and put him into a stockade and cane his ass until it's bloody red. That's just me. That's probably a bad idea. I'm just saying. So don't entertain that thought.
That would be Singapore.
That would be, but I wasn't going to name names. But that's okay. I just think it was really adorable to find out that something good did actually come up this particular week. So, SCOTUS, we have issues with you, so credit where credit is due. Do your job better just like this. Thanks very much. Just saying. Just saying. Stephanie's saying apparently they sold out of frog costumes.
Yep.
Good. The last time I heard of any group selling out of something because the public wanted so much of it was in the. I remember
Toilet
hearing.
paper.
Well, no. In a very different way. I remember in the 70s hearing how there were little ring-a-ding bells that were sold out for miles upon miles around any venue where Queen was playing in the 70s. Because when they played Bicycle Race, everybody in the crowd had a bell and started ringing the damn bells because they bought out from every shop in the neighborhoods. I love hearing about stuff like that. But considering that nascent furries are the ones who are out there doing some of these protests, way to go. It's just going to be one more step past that. All you got to do is just, let us know that you actually have. I mean, you don't have to exactly make a fursona out of it. You can just get those "Hi, my name is" sticker, put it on, put it on your little inflatable there, and give it a name, like Ribbert Stack.
With the pop, with it no longer being really safe for drag queens to do book readings anymore, I think the furry community could definitely fill in the gap.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine somebody reading Little Red Riding Hood while wearing the wolf costume.
Point of order, Your Honor. Most wolf costumes, yes, you could do that with. And before anybody goes ahead and starts going, might I remind you that the big bad wolf costume that was shown on PBS when they were showing the Broadway performance of Into the Woods was apparently anatomically correct and naked. So, just saying, I'm not saying that the folks in the furry community would do stuff like that. I'm not saying that they wouldn't do that. I can pretty well guess that most people can probably pretty well guess what the answer actually would be, but I'm hesitant to say anything about it because, still don't want YouTube to get pissed off.
Didn't. One would hope they didn't because, it's a book reading for kids. They don't need to go that far.
Agreed. However, of course, as with all things, one never knows.
Now, it'd be really funny if they were wearing the wolf costume, but they put on like a granny robe with the hat, I don't know what they call it. It's that little bonnet that the older community would wear, the older generations would wear before going to bed, to keep their hair in place and all that. And
yeah, sleep bonnet. Yeah.
Yeah, because in the story that's what the wolf did. Put on Granny's clothes.
They arrested. So, Stephanie's pointed out that apparently somebody arrested an inflatable. Hold on. I'm trying to figure what's going to be the most entertaining way of saying this one. For those of you who remember your computers from the late 80s, maybe you'd like to go out there and jump on a Wang. Wang computers, running entirely on ball bearings. Well, an inflatable Wang was apparently arrested for some reason or another. Now, where this was, why this was, don't know. Don't know the entire accuracy of this one, but wouldn't surprise me. Because, you know, it's kind of weird. God, I really hate how my eyes are not behaving tonight. Did you see the Grantifa sign?
Yeah.
You know, this is not quite working the way that I'd like it to, so I'm just gonna put this aside for the time being. You guys kind of help me out a little bit and keep track of if there's something in the chat for me, because I'm just not able to focus quite correctly. Everything is out of focus for me, which sucks. Yeah. Before we got started tonight, I was chatting up with the guys, and I pointed out that there was a picture of a venerated gentleman holding up a sign that said, "I fought fascists in 1945. I'm doing it again at 102 years old." Now, I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it right in front of me and I don't remember exactly what it said, but pretty much that. Young gentle sir, wherever the hell you are, and I know that you're not going to be listening because it's probably your bedtime, thank you. And on behalf of all of us, I am deeply sorry that you had to come out and do it all over again. On the bright side, at least you're not going to have to worry about trying to throw a hand grenade this time. Still. That being the case, so let's go ahead and kind of swing back into the reality of this whole thing. I know full well, like I said, that, as was pointed out, just anticipating getting people out to vote and thinking that that's the end-all be-all is a really bad idea. Because in the interim, that just cedes power. And we want to make sure that we do not let that happen. We need to be fighting tooth and nail. And any way that works. And it doesn't have to be official stuff. It can be unofficial. It can be roadblocks on everything. It can be, well, there was a group that was intentionally doxing the information for people in these paramilitary groups that have been commandeered and brought out to try to intimidate the public in ways that were done once before in history. Can you all tell that I'm trying very desperately to not tip the auto transcription services and get us in trouble? You know, there are people that are trying to do exactly that. They are trying to set roadblocks any and every opportunity they can. Little ones here, big ones there. Firing off their car horns when they see groups, terrorist groups, in various neighborhoods, or using traffic apps and specifically putting up information about cold weather warnings in neighborhoods. And I'm all on board for that. I'm absolutely on board for that. But apparently some administrations are finding that to be troublesome. And you know what? I don't know what that problem is. Funny how that
Can't
happens.
imagine why. Yeah, whatever happened to free speech?
Well, that's where it gets funny, doesn't it? Because you could just go ahead and say, well, you're using your phone, which its ecosystem and its program are privately owned and operated, and if they tell you not to do it, well, that's their property then, and if they say that you're not allowed to do that, then you're not allowed to do that. Doesn't matter that we're the ones that told them to tell you. It's their house, it's their rules, unless we pressure them to do that. Again, funny how that works out, isn't it? Yeah, it's a nice freedom of speech you got there. It'd be a shame if somebody were to tell you, not us, of course, not to use it, because that would be wrong.
See, we've talked about this before. There is a problem with freedom of speech. When you have absolute freedom of speech, which to a degree we have in this country, you can't say certain things that would incite a riot that would cause harm, right? Like you can't go into a movie. We've used this example. This example is all over the internet. This is an example of something never to do because it will result in jail time. This is illegal. I will preface this again. This is something you should never, ever do. This example is, and by the way, this has actually been done. We have court cases about this. Having somebody go into a theater during a movie and yelling bomb, which causes a stampede. People run for the exit. People get trampled. They get hurt. Some could die. This is a very bad thing to do. Freedom of speech does not allow you to do this. This is something that is not covered by that. The freedom of speech does allow you to say, I disagree with your stance on gun control. I disagree with your stance on abortion. I disagree, or forget disagree, I agree with, and that is the freedom of speech we have. You have the freedom of speech to say, and we've been exercising on the show, I disagree with the government's stance or response or legislation, or I agree with it. That is the freedom of speech that we have. Okay? What we don't have is, doing something, saying something that will definitely cause harm.
Where I am running into a problem now is SCOTUS has already ruled that setting the American flag on fire is protected free speech. But now there's an EO out there to where if you burn a flag, then you're going to get a year jail time. That is illegal.
My understanding is that the way the Supreme Court ruled it was it's a matter of freedom of speech if you burn it in protest only. So if somebody's just outside and they use the flag to start a fire to light their grill, that supposedly is not allowed.
Well, you know what I'm getting at, Tech.
Right, I understand where you're getting at, but I just wanted to clarify for the audience.
But I'm clarifying that SCOTUS said you can burn it in protest. This current regime says you cannot burn it in protest, or else you're going to go to jail due to an EO, which is not legally binding, but there you have it. And then when COVID was a thing and the government had requested that disinfo be taken down off of Facebook and Twitter, all of a sudden now it's being called coercion, and that should not have been done. But at the same time, you have the government that is using coercion to stop these anti-winter weather apps and things of that nature, and labeling anyone who has anything negative to say about this regime is automatically an American hating radical leftist terrorist.
And worse yet, at risk of having their citizenship questioned
Revoked.
and or revoked with virtually zero oversight or due process.
And with these illegal orders of shooting these boats in the Caribbean, the next logical extension to that is being able to, since they've declared the left as a terrorist group, they could fire on us.
Considering at various protests, quote unquote, less lethal missiles of various description have been utilized and specifically targeted the press.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying that the press is deserving of higher protection than anyone else, but who is intentionally targeted is a very telling thing. Because you could intentionally target anyone, and it could make a difference. It could not. It depends as to what it is they're doing. In this current technological age, we have the ability of broadcasting ourselves to single people, dozens, hundreds, thousands, potentially millions, at the press of a couple of buttons. But when you're dealing with people whose entire job is to be broadcasting out to the masses and literally the world and documenting exactly what it is that's going on, being the in the moment historian, you absolutely want to prevent anything from getting out. The downside, of course, is that if you don't do the job well enough and you leave any witnesses behind, well, guess what? You've now screwed yourself, because sooner or later, as we know all too well, tech, say the line.
All is known.
Sooner or later, all is known. It's just a question of how long it'll take. And that's exactly the reason why I wanted, I want there to be a lot more pulling in people who are angry, who are frustrated, because damn, there is a lot of folks that are really pissed off, and rightly so.
I'd also like to point out something about pulling in people that are angry. A lot of people have a lot of things going on in their lives that they can't make, a No Kings rally, or they can't get their butts over to the office of their pet Congress critter, or anything like that. And what you can do is, if you're somebody who's extremely politically active and you're trying to help these people out, but it just seems like they have a lot going on in their lives that are getting in the way of doing these things, make, a petition or a letter to the political person that covers that area, and have room for signatures multiple signatures on that letter, not just one, but multiple, and go, hey, look, I know you can't get out. I'm going to go see such and such politician about this and all that. And I know you agree with me that this is really bad for our community and everything else. This is a letter I'm going to be hand delivering. Would you be willing to sign it so that they can recognize it's not just one person showing up at their doorstep, but a community of people who are saying, we don't want this, or that we do want this thing to pass, or we don't want this thing to pass, because that's what the others do, right? And it, you know, you just don't pester the heck out of them about it. You know, if they say, no, I'm not putting my name on anything. Okay, fine. That's not a fight that you're going to win. That's a stance they've taken. They're not putting their name on anything. That's going to make them fighting for stuff for them much, much harder. But that's something that they have to change their stance on. You can't do it for them. You can remind them, hey, look, this is how we get change. But if you don't want to put your signature on it, okay, I understand completely. You know, and just don't be the person who's constantly knocking all hours of the day on their door, because that's how you get them to stop talking to you.
Yeah, I'm going to throw out something that's not related to this, but it's just factoid. As far as these ICE raids, or whatever you want to call them, there have to date been 170 U.S. citizens who have been apprehended by ICE.
I'm guessing of those 175-ish, because we know full well at this point the numbers are going to be who only knows where, because who only knows. I have to imagine that the vast majority of those, are for
Kavanaugh stops. Can
only.
we call them that?
I don't see any reason why not.
Because of racial profiling, and according to Kavanaugh, Justice Probierre, you know, if you're a U.S. citizen, then yeah, it's just going to be a minor inconvenience, and they'll promptly let you go. But some of these people are locked up for 2 or 3 days with no communication with their families, no access to attorneys, and they've got proof that they're citizens.
And if you're not allowed due process, how are you supposed to defend yourself like you're supposed to be able to?
Exactly. And then they dump you hours away from home.
Because of course they can.
Go. Yeah.
Or further.
Yeah.
Or further. On the other side of the equation from that, it makes my heart feel good, somebody had posted something that I never thought I would end up seeing and cheering for in my small way. Most of us are relatively familiar with the first 5 amendments to the Constitution of the United States. Those of you that are listening from, outside of the U.S., you're probably going to know a couple of these, if you don't know them by number. The first, of course, being traditionally referred to as freedom of speech, which the biggest part about that is being able to, as was mentioned, to bring your grievances to the government itself, to argue that, hey, I don't like what it is that you're doing, and that's fair to be able to do, which is kind of a surprising thing for when it was written. Second Amendment.
But it also covers freedom. But it also covers freedom of press.
Right.
Freedom of religion.
Freedom to peacefully assemble.
Yes.
So.
And those are being suppressed.
Second Amendment. the one that has been all over the place because nobody can really agree as to what it actually means, because some have got a comma, some don't. The freedom for people to be armed, the citizenry. There's a whole big fiasco about that, but we can see about maybe one day talking about that and revisiting that again. The Fourth Amendment, I know, bear with me a second. Fourth Amendment is the one for being safe in your person and possessions. You know, you can't be searched willy-nilly. You don't have to just present your papers when you're asked for it by the government. The fifth, of course, is for you to basically just shut the fuck up. You don't have to say anything. You are not to incriminate yourself accidentally or intentionally. You're not supposed to do that. But the one that has got my heart beating hard right now is the Third Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
Tech, do you remember what the Third Amendment is?
Quartering of soldiers, military.
Yeah. Also, they can't they can't take your not just quartering, but it also says it doesn't matter if it's a time of war or not, if I remember correctly.
We're not supposed to be able to commandeer your house and live in it.
Now, the reason why I'm so thrilled about this one is that somebody has noticed that there are stores and restaurants and the such that when they've been approached for, hey, this paramilitary group that has invaded your countryside would like to use your restroom facilities, would that be allowed? And they've just said,
Nope.
Nope. Go down the street. Go somewhere else. Don't care. Nope. I have no obligation to provide you with my facilities. Go away and darken my towels no more. And people have been noticing, oh wow, that's what the Third Amendment's all about, isn't it? Wow, shit. It's the first time in a long time, a very long time, that anybody has had the opportunity of actually saying, oh wow, shit, I guess that one is actually worthwhile, isn't it? There are groups that have intentionally made sure that people have not forgotten the Third Amendment, even though it's been a very long time since it's needed to be, hauled out. But these are the guys right now who are just like, we freaking told you. I love it when shit like that happens, don't you? You see why I'm so happy about this one? In your time of being with the military and out of it after all this time, Bridget, did you ever think for one instant that somebody was going to have a legit beef and be able to just swing the Third Amendment around like somebody's Wang computer?
No. Would have been inconceivable to me, but here we are.
Exactly. And yet, here the hell we are. It's freaking amazing. And I'm not saying that and chuckling because I'm finding it actually funny. I'm finding it absolutely absurd.
It is absurd.
Because there's no reason for it. in a different time and place, if the normal police forces had come and asked to use facilities, and they were community-oriented and serviced police, I would very well expect that they would be told, sure enough, come in, follow the same rules as everybody else. You want to use our facilities? Buy something. Buy lunch. And then, sure, just like everybody else. But then again, we also don't exactly have police forces that are community-oriented the way that we would very much like these days. Now, do we?
Not anymore.
And before anybody says it, I know, that's even assuming that it ever was in the first place. I'd like to believe that there's a lot of them that were. And probably there are still a good number of them that to this day still are. But I'm going to bring us back over to New York City for a couple of seconds, because there's something that's popped up that kind of falls into this whole thing about being angry, and that's there is an election cycle that is coming up in New York City, and the Democratic Party is having, well, they're going a little bit nuts, because there is a younger person who is getting a lot of support from the folks in the area so that he can be elected. And the rank and file Democratic Party folks, who are very much apparently trying to poo-poo on their way up the ranks to get someone who is a little bit more of a central establishment type personality, who's not going to ruffle as many feathers, and putting their weight and their might behind them so that they get into the elections.
You mean the person who resigned in disgrace?
Well, now you're kind of moving stuff around. I don't believe it was that. Memory serves. It was somebody else that they're trying to push forward because they are a much more centrist, a much more let's keep things calm kind of person, instead of a let's move stuff. Let's actually move stuff.
Are you talking about Cuomo, though?
I'm pretty sure Cuomo is pretty well just out of the equation. Although they were kind of pushing for him for some stupid reason. Be that as it may.
Well, the current administration would prefer Cuomo in office than Mamdani.
But here's the thing. There were a lot of New York police who had publicly said, if he gets elected, they will quit. I believe I speak on behalf of many, many people who don't live in New York. Well, New York City, have no ties whatsoever to the city or to the police forces when I say, wah, we'll miss you.
This is one of those potential opportunities that I have talked about before. We know that there are police officers who do their job by the book. And then there's officers who do whatever they want. They behave like bullies. They do bad things, and so on. If you have a section of the police force that says, oh, if this guy is in office, we're going to quit. This is the perfect opportunity for all those people who want better law enforcement presence in their communities to start applying for becoming police officers. You know, go get the training, go do the thing, because if Madami wins, there's going to be a whole lot of openings that they're going to be struggling to fill when all these supposed officers quit. And then you can be the change for your community because you will be a member of your own community. You will know what's going on in your area because you know everybody and the people know you. And that will change a lot of the interactions that occur. And just wear your body cams, have them rolling. You're on the clock, have that body cam rolling. That way there's never a question of what occurred. It's on tape, because there are people who they turn their cell phones on and they only turn it on partway through the interaction. They've completely cut out the part where they slap the cop. But there's also ones where, they were not there in time to catch it, where the cop was misbehaving. So when the police have their body cams on and rolling, that helps remove a lot of that he said, she said.
I think a lot of that is empty threats.
It's possible. It really is. But you never know how many of them would really want to quit. And it doesn't hurt to have more people who are willing to fill that role, who understand their own communities better than some of the other police officers that are currently engaged are. And if some of them leave those openings, that's the perfect time to fill those openings. That is a perfect time to actually start becoming the change. Stephanie in chat just put in, the original police in London were specifically recruited from the local community. Yes, because local beat cops know their community. And that makes them generally, especially when they're on the up and up, and better able to handle issues.
Which is also one of the reasons why I find it nefarious where they're activating National Guard units and sending them to other states.
Yep.
And not their own. Because if they send them to another state, they have no ties with those communities.
Yeah.
It's easier to the other people if they're not your community.
Honestly, if I was part of the National Guard and I was sent to, let's say I was from Wyoming and they sent me to Iowa, I would say, okay, I'd go to Iowa and I would stand there. I'd put a lollipop in my mouth and I would just stand there. And I would just eyes forward and just stand there. I wouldn't talk to anybody. I wouldn't engage. I just stand there. Hey, I was told to come here and stand here. Here I am standing. I'm doing my job. Have a nice day. I don't know anybody here. I'm not going to talk to anybody. I have nothing to say to them. I don't know them. Malicious compliance, meticulous compliance too. I'm doing my job. Said I had to stand here.
Yeah, which we of course know full well. It's all well and easy for us to be able to say it because A, we're not in the situation. We've got no skin in that game, and B, we've not done the military thing, so we don't know how difficult it would be for somebody in that situation. So, yeah, that's going to be tough. I've got a couple of seconds that I want to do this because I've got some correct focus happening in one eye at the moment. So I think it's just my eyes kind of dried out, and I've got enough tears out of one. I would put something in our chat and had pinged me also to make sure that it gets out on the air. And the only reason why I hadn't gotten to it before, hun, is because I saw that there was a red blob in a mostly white blob, but I didn't know what it was that you were trying to put out over there. So while I can read it, She copied and pasted this for us. And I'm assuming that this one was from the American president. I think is, yes. The quote that she's got over here, wanted to get it out there. America isn't easy. America is advanced citizenship. You got to want it bad because it's going to put up a fight. It's going to say, you want free speech? Let's see you acknowledge a man whose words make your blood boil, who's standing center stage and advocating at the top of his lungs that which you would spend a lifetime opposing at the top of yours. You want to claim this land as the land of the free? Then the symbol of your country cannot just be a flag. The symbol also has to be one of its citizens exercising his right to burn that flag in protest. Now, show me that, defend that, celebrate that in your classrooms. Then you can stand up and sing about the land of the free. Brother, you know, we've talked about it on too damned many occasions that some of the most inspirational lines, the ones that truly show up to us as if it were, as has been described before, a circus mirror, is fiction. Fiction allows us to ask the questions, to demand accountability, to make sure that people actually understand, wow, stuff like this could actually happen. I wish that this would actually, oh, we can make that happen. We can make this work. We can demand these things of people. Because, yeah, you can. And not just that, but that's the way it's supposed to work. You know, all those times that we talked about how statesmanship is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a two-way street. It's supposed to be, I respect you enough to oppose you, and you respect me enough to oppose me. But that when all is said and done, if you were to look at what it is that we're trying to accomplish from our point of view, we're both trying to get to the same spot, the betterment of all. It's just that we've got different ways that we think are going to make it work. And right now, that's the biggest problem, isn't it? There's one group that's trying to help everyone, or as much of everyone as they can, and one group that is trying to help just themselves. Or more appropriately, specifically trying to punch down everybody else. Never mind lift themselves up, which they're still trying to do that anyway. And that's where we're at. So yeah, this quote is absolutely appropriate. You know, you want people to be able to respect each other enough to oppose them, but allow them to take all of the responsibilities and use them to their benefit as well as everybody else. I wish it was that easy sometimes. No, I take it back. It is that easy. It's just some folks have decided that playing fair for everyone isn't good enough. And that's where we've gotten to, for whatever reason. I'm gonna be getting us really close to wrapping up just a little bit early because of how difficult it is for me to be able to properly do my job over here. Being able to read, that's kind of novel right now for me, which is annoying because I should be able to the whole time. And a lot of this right now is just muscle memory of where everything is supposed to be, which I'm not really thrilled about. Io, if there's something that you want me to say for you, go ahead and type it up. Or if there is something small that you want to be able to say before we get out of here, just let me know one way or the other. I'll come back. I'll come back over to you in just a couple of seconds. You can type it over there in the host chat one way or the other. Tech, I want to give you a first shot on something that, anything that you might want to kind of close out with, and reminding you that I'm kind of running on a personal clock at the moment right now.
Yeah, I got you. Simply put, we live in troubled times, and it's going to be hard getting through it. Keep your friends close. Keep your neighbors close. Talk to them. Re-engage at a personal level, and know their feelings on things. Show support. You'd be surprised at how easily you can get somebody to at least listen to your point of view just by showing some support and listening to them, even if you disagree with them. We're not doing not a lot of people, not enough people are doing the listening part. They're doing the screaming part. I've said it before, I'll say it again. There's too much yelling going on. Have a conversation, not a screaming match.
That's fair. Bridget?
I'm just gonna say that the corruption and the grift that continues, I don't see how we are going to survive to the next election. We cannot afford to give people continued subsidies on their healthcare insurance, but we can send $40 billion, over to Malay to go, help him get Argentina out of their shithole or whatever, and then buy Kristi Noem 2 private jets. I thought we were broke, so what the hell?
You got serious points on that one. That's for absolute sure. I've listened to some of that also and been really annoyed myself. But I kind of talked about my part on all that. Io's got one other item that she wanted over here that I'll read off while I can still read. God, this is annoying. From the Newsroom. And I've seen this clip several times before. Good clip. It sure used to be. We stood up for what was right. We fought for moral reasons. We passed laws, struck down laws for moral reasons. We waged wars on poverty, not on poor people. We sacrificed. We cared about our neighbors. We put our money where our mouths were, and we were never beat our chests. We built great big things, made ungodly technological advances, explored the universe, cured diseases, and we cultivated the world's greatest artists and the world's greatest economy. We reached for the stars, acted like men. We aspired to intelligence. We didn't belittle it. It didn't make us feel inferior. We didn't identify ourselves by who we voted for in the last election, and we didn't scare so easily. We were able to be all these things and do all these things because we were informed by great men, men who were revered. First step in solving any problem is recognizing there is one. America's not the greatest country in the world anymore. Now, my inflections, of course, are wildly different from how it was portrayed in the movie. But yeah, man. Again, fiction still resonates, still appropriate. For me, it's hard to look over some of this stuff and not feel angry. It's also entirely plausible that for some of us, we don't just feel angry. We feel hopeless, helpless, numb in some cases. I get that. I absolutely get that. And I'm going to say something that's probably not going to sound right at first. That's okay. Now, we don't want you to feel hopeless or helpless, of course. But at the same time, we want you to know it's entirely plausible that for right now, right in this moment, that's okay. Not because we don't want you to help out. We want you to help out, the same as we want to be able to help out. But if you don't have it in you right at the moment, that's okay. You help when and how you can with what you've got. Maybe you got to wait a little bit longer. And the best that you can do is just be there when elections come up. Cool. Maybe you'll be able to help by teaching people here and there, by leading by example. Maybe not necessarily the same as what we try to do, but maybe. Again, cool. Making a difference doesn't have to be changing the world in one step. Changing the world is done with just one step. Just one little piece. Here and there. Just do good. Just one piece. You don't have to be part of the throng. It's okay for you not to do that. Maybe it's because it's not safe. Maybe it's because you can't get out there. It's okay. Be there when it matters and do what matters. Taking up arms in a conflict of ideas is about having a better idea. Spread that idea and just be good. Meantime, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to wrap us up right about here so I can actually see what the hell I'm doing long enough. So thank you for being with us, everybody. We hope that you found something worthwhile in all of our perspectives and you got something to think about for the week ahead. Thank you. I'm sorry, Stephanie, I know that you're over there, and I've been really hard-pressed to be able to read. You probably saw a couple of times I had my phone out so that I could use the camera app and zoom heavily to be able to read. Thank you for
Stephanie's
helping.
ended with over 7 million on the street should have made Taco terrified. As long as the GOP representatives realize that if they want to stay on the gravy train, they need to get rid of him. And then in parentheses, Ian Johnson.
You know, memory serves. That's pretty much exactly what ended up happening with Nixon. Wow. Who would have ever thought that we'd have said that Nixon was a better president to anybody? So we'll see how this plays out. Tech, thank you. I appreciate it. You take care of yourself, and seriously, you stay safe this week, eh?
Yeah, you too, my man.
Oh, I'm trying. Io, thank you. I'm going to limit your good night, so good luck this week. You take good care of your throat, huh?
You told me to stay quiet, so I did.
Let it be known that she actually acknowledged that she listened to me this time.
For once.
Bridget, thank you. I'm glad you were able to be out there where maybe we couldn't. And I'm glad things worked out safely for everybody. That being the case, good luck the week ahead. And who has your ire tonight?
I'm going with Mike Johnson because you know why you're too chicken shit to reconvene Congress, because you don't want that 218th signature. You bastard.
We're forgetting one particular line.
Go fuck yourself.
Thank you. I was hoping for that one. Yeah, the idea that the speaker would refuse to swear in somebody. Yeah, like you said, inconceivable just a handful of years ago. But yet...
Yeah, she was elected a month ago.
But yet here we are. So, folks, thank you very much for being with us. If you'd like to be in touch with us, of course, feel free to leave a message over here on the videos on YouTube, or if you want to be in more direct contact, probably our easiest way is over on the socials, especially over there on Discord. You can also hit us over there on Blue Sky and Facebook, only because it's legacy material. What are you going to do? But other than that, please stay safe. The weather is changing. This past week, I went from having an outside temperature, and I know it's in freedom units, I'm sorry, 80 degrees Fahrenheit over the course of 3 days, going down to like 65 and lower. I'm not a happy camper being outside, but is what it is. Please just be careful. And we will be having the time zone change in due course. We'll let you know ahead of time about that one so that you can take appropriate measures. But until the next time we're together, as always, I wish you the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. My hun. What can I say? 20 plus years. And I am still in love. Matane Fujin. I love you. I miss you. You dream of me. Till the next time we're together, everyone. As always, good night.